Jackie Huber. I'm 27, student, and just finishing my degree with 1 year to go in Sydney, Australia. To be honest, I didn't think about it that hard when I decided to do it. I wanted a bit of an adventure, and I'd never been to a third world country, and in Australia, Africa is the ultimate adventure. And it happened to be medicine that I'd ever experienced, and there is some third world medicine in Australia, but you don't get to experience the culture of a third world country at the same time. It wasn't some sort of selfless, oh, I want to help the people of the developing world. It was actually a bit more flippant than it should have been. The highlight of my time here, it's difficult to pinpoint actually. Nothing so much at St Francis particularly, but around the whole St Francis experience. I think probably when we went on safari, the tent was right exactly on the river, this huge river, and in the river there were these hippos and crocodiles and animals that I'd certainly never seen before. And waking up in the morning and coming out of the tent and actually seeing hippos on the riverbank, monkeys everywhere, and it was exhilarating, and it was wonderful. Yeah, that's the highlight. A low light here would be one particular day, and I think George would actually agree with me, when all the doctors were away. Not all the doctors, we had 3 doctors here, and no one else on the ward with us. And we'd asked them to come and check up, like, for emergencies and stuff, but essentially it was just the 2 of us. And that week in particular, someone had gone on rural clinics, someone had gone to Malawi, etc. And we just felt particularly alone. And I don't think anyone gets really used to people dying particularly often. On that day, we had 4 people die, which was far in excess of any other day. So there was one guy in particular, his name was Lennox. He was a teacher, and we got to know him over the week or so that he was in St Francis on the previous admission. And he was ill, but he wasn't devastatingly ill. And he came in sick, and he left well, and we did that. And you know, we were all pretty happy, and we could converse with him really well also because he spoke English, so that added to our relationship. And then, so he went away and he came back only a few days later. And it just seemed like all our work had fallen down around his ears. And he was breathless and desperate. And I didn't realise that he was obviously dying. He didn't realise that he was RVD positive either. And everyone was so hopeful that exactly the same thing would happen again. And it didn't, in the most catastrophic way. And he just, it wasn't a quiet death, it was gasping for air the whole time, and this is for 2 days straight or something, and we tried everything. We gave him a transfusion, and he had a transfusion reaction, which was catastrophic as well, and it was just so unexpected. And I suppose being so inexperienced, I, for one, had the expectation that that would just solve everything, and it absolutely didn't. And it took him a couple of days to die, and it was pretty horrible. So, insofar as what I've learnt here at St Francis, certainly become infinitely more confident, specifically when it comes to trying something that we've never tried before. I'll get in there with a huge needle and hit anything, like, without anaesthetic, which is certainly something new as well. But the patients here are so stoic that it makes it a lot easier. In Australia, if you come at someone with a needle, you know, as big as their head, they'll run and hide under something, but here they'll take anything. So that made it a lot easier. I've learnt that it's okay for someone to die, I guess. So certainly an unexpected love of third world medicine seems to have arisen. As I said, I was so flippant when I decided to come here. but having discovered how generous people are and how easy it is to help someone here, as compared to at home where you have to go through the levels of bureaucracy, and you pretty much don't have anything hands-on, certainly at my level at home, whereas here you're allowed to talk to people at an unprecedented amount for me. And because the procedures here seem a lot more simple than at home, maybe that's why they let us do more. I'm not really sure, but it seems easier to help people in the third world than it does in the developed world, perhaps. I think the thing about Africa that stands out most is probably the colour, or the colours, plural. The saturated colour is incredible. The skies are always this heavy, brooding, greyish, like blue, and the green is so green, and the colours that they wear, these chitangas, are just filled with every colour under the sun, and they just seem to really love life. They're so joyful, and I think the colour just manifests so well. I think that's probably the thing about Africa that I remember the most.